Howdy, howdy, howdy. We are back with another firearms review. It's the same day, as you can tell, with the same clothing on. But what I'm reviewing today is probably my all-time favorite rifle I own, as well as my first rifle that I ever purchased. It is the Marlin 336W. So this is the Marlin 336W chambered in 30-30 Winchester. This is the first rifle I ever bought, and I remember the day I went to the gun store and I picked this up with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and honestly, it was the coolest thing ever. I just got my PAL, and I really wanted something unique, and lever action guns are kind of the reason why I got my PAL in the first place. None of this tactical stuff, but this was kind of the rifle that really inspired me. I had been looking at one for, I think, years to get into a lever action rifle, because they're cool, they're cowboy-esque, they're western, they're nostalgic, and they're also great hunting rifles, as well as brush guns or bush protection guns. So the 336W is chambered in 30-30 Winchester, which up here in Canada, it's the cheap stuff. The cheap rounds cost you around $20 to $25, depending on where you buy them. I know at Canadian Tire they can range between $25 and $27, so they're not really a cheap round to shoot. At the time when I bought this, I didn't really care, because I thought that ammo doesn't really matter, it doesn't count, I don't care, I'm going to put as much rounds as I can through it, and I've probably put 1,000 rounds through this rifle, and it's cost me a lot. It cost me a lot of money in ammunition cost, but I love it. I love every single round that I've shot out of it. It's always been fun. It's been the gun that I've taken so many people out with, and I've always brought it along to shoot. It was for a long time my biggest caliber gun, and a lot of people were scared to shoot it when for the first time, because I used to only have this and a 22 were my first two, and the 22 is my second gun. So this was a huge step up from the 22 for a lot of people. But back out of the backstory, let's get into this. So it is a lever action rifle, as you can tell. It is empty, there's no rounds in the chamber, and I can see that there is no rounds in the magazine tube. And this thing is on safe, and that's so. The 336W, I can't really say anything bad about this gun, except for one thing, which I didn't think about until a little bit later on when I started getting other rifles. So Marlin guns have a tendency, especially the lever actions, for their front sight not be mounted properly on the barrel. Now, I didn't know that at the time. I just thought I was holding the rifle improperly, as it was my first one. And I got used to it, and I figured it out. I changed my shooting position. I was able to line up the dovetail sight and the hooded front sight very well, and I got very accurate at it until I realized that the sight was off on the front. Mine is canted to the left very slightly, but it does make a little difference when aiming. This thing, when it came in the box, obviously didn't have the gel holder or the leather sling, but it did come with a 3x9 scope. Now this is just a standard 3x9 scope. I don't know who makes it, it's not really marked, but it comes with this scope, and it also comes with a Picatinny mount on the top, so you can put that scope, if I have it right, like that on the rifle to make it more of a hunting rifle and more of a deer rifle. And this was my purpose for buying one with a scope, so I could use it for hunting, use it for deer, and all that. I've since removed it recently. I have a lot of videos of people shooting that thing with the scope on and off. A lot of my friends like it with the scope on. It just makes you a little bit more accurate, especially because the front sight is off. I have talked to a gunsmith about fixing it, but the more and more I play around with it and look at it, it just makes this one a little bit unique in that aspect, and it doesn't bug me too much because most of the time I have a scope on it. It's very, very rare that I don't have one on it. So this is a walnut. This is a walnut stock and foregrip, very comfortable with the checkering, and just with this grip style. It's different than the Winchester 98 that just has that straight grip to the stock. This kind of gives you a little bit more of a curve and a little bit more positioning on it, which helps with shooting it, which I have found. This takes 6. This can hold 6 in the tube, plus 1 in the chamber. I normally only rock 5 in the tube. That's just my preference personally. But honestly, this thing is a blast to shoot. If you're thinking of getting one, I would. They are going up in price. I bought mine for $760, which was high at the gun store that I went to about 3 years ago. Now they're like $800-900, and it's really hard to find one with the scope. Those just go up even more. So that's another thing. These things are climbing in costs, and the quality of them I have seen are starting to go down. So the older you get, the better quality you'll have. Now the lever on it is quite smooth. It does have a little bit of a sticky part right about there, but after you work it a couple times, as well as get used to it, you can get pretty fast at moving this bolt and this action. One thing I've noticed with mine is it is a little loose. As you can see there, it just has that slight little, it just pops out a bit, which sucks because when I am reloading sometimes, that will pop out and then I can't really put any more in. So with reloading, it makes it a little challenging, that aspect when you're loading another round into the tube. Mine just sticks out a little bit. I don't know if that's what it's like on everyone else's, but it has a cross bolt safety, red for dead and safe, which is nice. It's better than a thumb safety, I find, but that works good. So you can shoot this. So if you do have a round in the chamber and you don't want to pull the trigger, or you don't want to lever another round, you do already have one in the trigger, you can put that hammer back, put it on safe, and then it won't fire because that hammer will stop before it hits. And as you see, it's just doing that. See, it pops like that. I don't know if that's with mine. I don't know if I tighten something. Probably do. But that's one thing to look out for. Now it does have a half cock position, so there's the half cock and then full cock position. You can only put it on safe when it's either in the half cock position or when it's fully cocked. Then you can change your safeties. Now you can get a lot of upgrades for these. I've seen them with different iron sights put on them and all that, but this is just a I just think this is probably the coolest lever action rifle you can get next to a Winchester. That's in good quality and good and overall pretty good. Accuracy on this thing is amazing. I don't know how far out I've shot with this thing because I'm not very good at measuring distances, but this thing has provided for me very well in regards to accuracy, both with just the off iron sights as well as with the scope. Scope is sighted in for 100 meters, and yeah, I've had no problems with it. And after holding up with 1,000 rounds through it, I've had no issue. I think the only issue is just this being a little loose, but other than that, it's done very well. Rifling is still all good. This thing, once you start going off with rounds and start racking them, the barrel does get very hot, and the foregrip, if you're not careful, if you're holding it like this or anyway with your thumb up on it, it will burn your thumb a little bit. And I've had that issue before in the past. But yeah, overall, I think this is an amazing firearm. This was my first firearm. I never intend on getting rid of it. It's a great deer gun. I know a lot of people that have these that have taken down some good size mule deer with this thing, and it's just a blast to shoot. Kickback is not as bad as many first-time shooters believe, compared to other bigger rounds. Overall, I think this is an amazing firearm to get. It doesn't really have much of a soft buttstock. It is just this hard plastic, so the butt plate doesn't really do much for reducing the recoil on your shoulder. But overall, it's just a joy to shoot. It's fun. It's nostalgic. It's cowboy-esque. You feel like a cowboy when you shoot it, which is the main thing. And it's my main rifle that I take out if I'm going deep into the wilderness on a hike, or going like deep off the grid in the bush style camping. I'll take this with me for bear defense, because the 30-30 is all right at dealing with black bears. Yeah, I've had no issues with this, and I highly recommend you finding one, checking one out, or even just shooting one. Pretty much everyone has a Marlin or a Winchester, and honestly, I've shot the Winchester at 94, and I pick this hands down over that any day. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned for the next.